Hey guys, welcome back. So today I'm going to take you guys through an entire romantic steakhouse dinner. This video was actually requested by one of you guys, so I really hope you enjoy it. Definitely give the video a thumbs up if you do, and subscribe to my channel before you go. We're going to start by setting the ambiance of the steakhouse dinner. I feel like a white tablecloth is the signature look when you go to a steakhouse. I also took out my white tablecloth napkin so it could feel a little bit more special. And I went ahead and set the table. When you go to a steak dinner, the first thing that comes out is usually complimentary bread and butter. My husband and I usually just skip that because we don't want to fill up on it, and we go straight into the appetizer. So instead, we're going to combine the appetizer and the bread portion into one. These are little Brazilian cheese bread bites, and they are amazing, you guys. They actually serve these at a lot of Brazilian steakhouses. I bought this particular bag at Costco, but I've seen them at H-E-B as well. These are so easy to make. They take about 20 minutes in the oven, and they get nice and crispy and nice and like gooey and cheesy on the inside. I put them in a cloth napkin, and this keeps the heat insulated, and it also just adds to the presentation of the table. Next course is usually super salad, and today I'm going to show you guys our absolute favorite arugula salad. It is so easy to make, but so delicious. It does have like a maple vinaigrette that's super easy to make. I do use apple cider vinegar, balsamic vinegar, a little bit of Dijon mustard, and maple syrup as the sweetener. I will have the exact measurements and ingredients down in the info box for you guys, but I do like putting the dressing in a mason jar so I can just shake it up really easily and store any that I don't use in the refrigerator. I'm telling you guys, once you try this salad, you are going to fall in love. It has arugula, apples, pomegranates, bacon, goat cheese, pecans. So I do like to add half of the pomegranates and apples at the very beginning, and then I will toss it with the dressing just so that the crispy toppings don't get soggy. And once the salad is fully coated with that dressing, then I will go in and add the rest of my toppings. So I did add the bacon, also the pecans, and I did use maple bacon, by the way, you guys. The maple bacon really goes well with that goat cheese. And then I also added strawberries because I ended up having extra strawberries from the dessert portion. When we go to a steakhouse dinner, we usually like two sides, one of them being a starch, and it's generally a potatoes. So today I'm going to show you guys my mashed potato recipe, and this recipe is so easy. It literally has 3 ingredients, but what makes them so good is the cooking technique. Choosing the right potatoes is really important. For me, I like using russet potatoes. So I go ahead and peel them, wash them, and then I fill up a pot of water, and I make sure to salt the water. You want to make sure it is lightly salted. So go ahead and taste it as you do. Salting the water is crucial for this recipe. If you skip this, you're going to have a lot harder time getting that flavor later on. Before I add my potatoes into the water, I do cut them up into 4s so that it cooks faster and evenly. And then I will turn my stove up to high and bring everything up to a boil. And the way that you know that they're ready is if you stick a fork through it and it goes in easily, then you're good to go. If not, just let them cook for another 2 to 3 minutes and continue doing that until they are fully cooked. Once they are fork tender, go ahead and drain the water and then put your potatoes back on the pan. This is another important step. Turn the stove back on medium-high heat and kind of start mashing your potatoes. And this is going to help release any excess moisture and really help dry out those potatoes so that they're ready for the butter and the cream. Once all of that water has completely evaporated, turn the stove off, and then we're going to add our butter. I'm gently mashing that butter in and making sure that it is evenly coating all the potatoes. Once your potatoes are fully covered in butter, go ahead and taste them and see if they have enough salt. If you feel like they need more salt, add a little bit of salt, mix them up again, and continue doing that until you feel that they are perfectly seasoned. Next, we're going to be using heavy whipping cream. I'm telling you guys, this is the winning combination. So I am going to just warm up that whipping cream in the microwave. You could also warm this up on the stove if you wanted to, but you do want it to be hot so that it doesn't cool your mashed potatoes. And we're going to add a little bit at a time and then take a hand blender and blend this for about 10 seconds and then add the rest of the cream and then continue blending it for another 30 to 40 seconds. This is important, you guys. So whatever you do, do not go past a full minute of blending. Do not over blend or you're gonna have gummy mashed potatoes and you do not want that. And that is it, you guys. You can already see these mashed potatoes are super fluffy, creamy, and they are so flavorful. You could literally just eat this straight from the bowl with a spoon. But I am gonna garnish it with a little bit of extra butter, some green onions, and then also some finishing salt. So for the vegetable today, I'm making these roasted mushrooms, but they also create like this gravy that you can put on top of your mashed potatoes, and it's absolutely delicious. And you can kind of cook these at the same time as you're cooking the mashed potatoes so that they can be ready at the same time. And they do have soy sauce, Worcestershire sauce, minced garlic, parsley, and lemon zest. A little tip I can give you is when you're zesting the lemon, just make sure that you're zesting only the yellow part of the lemon. So as soon as you see that it starts to turn white, continue flipping the lemon until there is no yellow left. I would normally let the mushrooms marinate in a Ziploc bag, but I was completely out. So I just put a saran wrap over the bowl, kind of shook them a little bit to kind of distribute that sauce. And then you want to let them sit for a minimum of 20 minutes so that they really absorb all of those juices. Once they're done marinating, you want to transfer them to a baking bowl and make sure your oven has been preheating at 400 degrees. Then we're going to top the mushrooms off with butter, parsley, and pepper, and stick that in the oven and bake it for 10 minutes. After the 10 minutes are up, your mushrooms are pretty much done cooking, but what I like to do at this point is take that sauce that it created and start drizzling it on top of all the mushrooms. And then I bake it for another 4 minutes. I'm telling you guys, these mushrooms are so delicious and that sauce is so good to drizzle on top of your potatoes and your steak. Now for the main course, we are going to be making ribeye. I also recommend getting a meat thermometer if you've never cooked steak. These cost under $10. You can find them at your grocery store. I have a few little tips to share with you guys that are going to result in the best steak you've ever made. It starts by letting your steak come to room temperature before you even start the cooking process. So take it out, let it sit on the counter for about 20 to 30 minutes before you start cooking. Also, make sure your oven is fully preheated to 400 degrees and make sure that your pan on the stove is on medium high. Also, you want the steak to be the very last thing that you cook because this happens so quickly. In under 10 minutes, you're gonna be done. So as you're letting everything preheat, go ahead and season your steak. I just use sea salt and pepper. Don't need anything else, especially if you're using a very high quality cut of meat. And then you're gonna get your hands dirty. You're gonna go in there and really massage those seasonings into it. Make sure that you get the sides, the front, the back, the top, the bottom, the whole thing. Then once your pan is super hot, go ahead and throw your butter in there. Make sure you have enough butter to coat the entire bottom part of the pan. And once that butter turns brown, go ahead and add your steak in. And then set a timer for 2 minutes and do not touch it. As soon as those 2 minutes are up, you're going to flip your steak back over and do the exact same thing to the other side. Set your timer for 2 minutes and don't touch it. You're gonna see that it's creating kind of like this sear on the steak, and this is going to help lock all of those juices in. And this is why it's important to have your oven ready to go, because as soon as those 2 minutes are up, you're gonna transfer your pot into the oven. Just make sure that you're using a pot that is oven safe. So you're gonna continue cooking the steak in the oven, and it's going to really depend on how you want it cooked. It may only take an extra minute in the oven if you want it rare. It may take up to 10 minutes in the oven if you want it well done. I like my steak medium, so I put it in the oven for 2 minutes. So you do want to place the thermometer in the thickest part of the meat to make sure that you get an accurate reading. And keep in mind that when you're cooking red meat, whatever that thermometer says, it's going to go up a few degrees because steak always continues cooking after you take it out of the oven. So for me, I want to hit that 145 mark. So I went ahead and took it out when the thermometer read 140. Of course, if it hasn't quite met the temperature that you're looking for, put it back in the oven and continue checking every minute. Once it has reached the temperature that you desire, go ahead and pull it out of the oven and let it cool down for about 5 minutes. It's going to continue cooking, and it's also going to make sure that all of those juices kind of settle in evenly in the meat. If you don't have a thermometer, you can always just kind of cut a little piece in the thickest part of the meat and see if it's the color that you like. Like I said, we like it medium, so it is going to be slightly pink in the middle, but it's going to be almost well cooked on the edges. Since Valentine's Day is coming up, for dessert, I wanted to keep it classic with chocolate covered strawberries. By making our own chocolate covered strawberries and ditching the expensive chocolate, we can put that money towards a nice bottle of bubbly. To melt the chocolate, we are melting 1 cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips. And then I'm adding about a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil to it, and I'm gonna put it in the microwave for 30 seconds. After 30 seconds are up, you'll see that the chocolate has started melting, but it's still quite hard. So I'm gonna put it back in the microwave for another 30 seconds. You wanna repeat this process until your chocolate is completely melted. And then after this, you wanna work very quickly because the chocolate will stick better when it's hot. So make sure that your strawberries are clean and dry, and then just go ahead and start dipping them individually. And you'll see how that chocolate really sticks to the strawberries very easily. The cooler the chocolate gets, the harder this is to do. So that's why I say you have to work fast. Then I found some white chocolate chips in my pantry, so I decided, why not? Let's go ahead and drizzle some white chocolate on it. Honestly, they're not the prettiest, but let me tell you, they were absolutely delicious, and the lights were dim, so you really couldn't tell how badly I had messed them up, but they were really, really tasty. And I would recommend serving this dinner with a red wine, a Pinot or a Cab. I will leave some of my red wine recommendations at different price points down in the info box for you guys. It is time to set the table. Put some music on, maybe turn a candle on. Just make sure that your candle is not scented because you don't want it to overpower all of those yummy scents. And it is time to enjoy. I really hope you guys try this out at home. Seriously, it's so much fun. And it just gives you time to catch up with your significant other and enjoy a really good dinner that didn't cost you an arm and a leg in the comfort of your own home. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. Give the video a thumbs up before you go and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.